Okay, 7th grade. Today we are talking about the 5 themes of geography. Has anybody heard of that before? Does that sound familiar at all?
Yeah.
Have we heard of it before? Or is this something totally new? New. That's great. All right. So let's get started. Our first theme that we're going to look at is location. So theme number 1 is location. Now there's a couple questions we want to ask when we're thinking about location. First, where is it? Right? Where is it located? And second, why is it there? Yep, you can write those down. Okay, so we think 2 questions when we have our first theme. Where is it and why is it there? Okay, those are the 2 questions that we associate with location. Now, we're going to look at 2 different types of location. All right. First, absolute location. Does anyone know or maybe has a guess as to what absolute location is? What would absolute location be? Emery? Yeah. What do we think? Do we think it's exact, or do you think it's kind of an idea of where something is? Exact. That is right. So when we have absolute location, we are giving the exact location. Okay. Second is relative location. So what is relative location then? Right? We're not giving exact coordinates. All right, but we're giving a relative location. So we're actually going to go through on the next slide and define what these 2 locations really are, okay? But again, we have 2 types of location, absolute and relative. And our 2 questions we ask when we're looking at location: where is it and why is it there? Okay, so first let's define absolute location. It is a specific place on the Earth's surface. Okay. To find that, we use a grid system. Now, if you look over here to this map, this would be an example of a grid system on a map. Do you see these lines that they draw in? They're like little dashes across the map. Okay, might be hard to see. You can maybe see it up here, right? It says 150 degrees, 120, 90, 60, 30, 0, and it has degrees on either side. Do you know what those are called? Yeah, it's latitude and longitude. Okay, so that is what we use to give an absolute location. Okay, have you ever seen something like 45.6 degrees north and 36.35 degrees west? Like that's an example of what a latitude and longitude coordinate would look like. Okay, so again, some of my maps, actually this one has it too. You see all of these really light lines and they go all the way across the map. And then on the side is where you see the degrees. So like this is 30 degrees. And then this is like 135 degrees going all the way down. So if we want to find out, you know, Minnesota, we'd like connect our degrees. Okay, that's how we get that. Right? And then that's our global address, kind of is a way of looking at that, a global address with that latitude and longitude, finding those numbers and seeing where they cross and match up. Okay. Next up, we're going to talk about relative location. Okay. So this is where a place is in relation to another place. Are we giving exact coordinates? No. Okay. We use directional words to describe the location. What are directional words? When you give directions, what do you say? There's 4. Yeah. North, south, east, west, right? Those are directional words that you can use to describe where something is. Okay. Then cardinal and intermediate directions. Okay, that's using that north, south, east, west. Okay. So when we think about our area, what is kind of the biggest town, like the hub of everything? Yeah, right? I'd say Morris. Morris is definitely bigger than Hancock, right? Kind of bigger than most of the towns that are pretty close to us. So that could be used as a reference point. What direction is Hancock from Morris? South, right? South, southeast. Remember when we had our Minnesota map? Hancock was below Morris. Okay? So if we wanted to tell someone where Hancock is using relative location, I would say, okay, Hancock is south, southeast of Morris. Okay? So that's a way that you could give a relative location. Now, let's look at theme number 2, place. So now you need theme number 2, that is place. Okay? So first, let's talk about physical characteristics of a place. Physical characteristics. That includes land features, such as mountains, plains, plateaus. Does anyone know what a plateau is? Austin, what's a plateau? I need you to talk louder and clearer. Can anyone else help Austin out? Nathan? Yeah, that are flat on top. You can actually see a plateau up here on our geography term. Okay? A generally flat area of land located at an elevated level. Okay, so it's an elevated land feature that's flat on top. All right, climate. That also falls under physical characteristics. What is climate? What is that talking about? Emery. Yeah, the weather, right? Your weather indicates what kind of climate you have. Okay, so that is another physical characteristic. Okay. Bodies of water. Okay. Lakes. There's oceans surrounding it. Rivers, right? Those are all bodies of water that you can use to describe a place using physical characteristics. Now, let's look at some of the physical characteristics of Minnesota. Tell me some of those characteristics with a raise of hand, using these pictures to help you out. Give me some physical characteristics of Minnesota. Tabitha. Lakes, right? We talked about bodies of water being an example of what you could include for physical characteristics. So lake, so we're in the land of 10,000 lakes. Actually, we have more than that, right? Even more than that. So we have lakes, we have bodies of water, right? What else do we see from this picture? Yeah, Alyssa? Yeah, yep. On our shorelines here, right, our water shoreline. Trees, so we have forests, yes. Rivers. This is actually a picture of the Mississippi headwaters. Has anyone ever been with the raise of hand to Anacostia State Park to the Mississippi headwaters? Cool. Yeah, a very cool place. You can actually walk along these rocks, okay? The headwater, when you say headwater, that's where the river starts. That's where the river starts. Good. All right, now we're going to look at human characteristics. Okay? Yes. So that's looking at people. Focus in, focus in. People, culture, language, religion, and buildings and landmarks, okay? So these are all examples of what we can talk about when we mention human characteristics, okay? So a population of that place, the culture. Does every place around have a culture? No, right? There's many, many, many different cultures. Does everyone speak the same language? No, right? There's tons of different languages. Think back to that video we watched for Intro to Geography, right? If the world only had 100 people, they listed off many, many languages, okay? Religion, is that the same across the board? No, right? Many different religions based on where you are in the world, okay? So those are the human characteristics you can look at with a place, okay? So make sure you have this in your notes. These examples are human characteristics.